Did you know that Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda was published in 1946 and it has never gone out of print? It has sold millions of copies worldwide and it has been translated in more than 50 languages across the world. And this was the only book that Apple's co-founder Steve Jobs kept on his iPad. Well, it is a great book. So what can you as an author writing about Sanatan Dharma's Bharat's wisdom, what can you learn from this book and the success of this book? That is what we are going to discuss today. My name is Harshit Bharadwaj and this is Write for Bharat channel, where I am going to help you write a great book that promotes and spreads the wisdom of the rishis. Paramahansa Yogananda wrote this autobiography of a yogi between 1935 to 1946. The book was published by a US publishing society, Philosophical Library, later published by Paramahansa Yogananda's own society. This book is single-handedly the most influential book that took the teachings of Bharat to the world, first to US and then to the rest of the world. It has never gone out of print. The audio version is available now in the voice of Ben Kingsley, and as I said, Steve Jobs, Elvis Presley, George Harrison of Beatles, and so many great artists and legendary figures swore by this. So much so that when Steve Jobs died, and at his memorial, when people, all the guests, all the attending guests, they were given a box. And everyone got a copy of this book. Every guest received this copy. This much influence this book had on the life of Steve Jobs, probably one of the most influential figures of last 100 years. So many lists have said that this is probably the top 10 most influential books of all times. So yes, this is a great book. This did more justice to the wisdom of Bharat than any other book. What can we learn from this? That is the whole idea. Second, in order to learn from a case study like this book, Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda, I am presuming that you are familiar with the book. If you're not, you should go and read this book. This book, if you are an Indian and if you're a Bharatiya, when you'll read this book, you will not find anything out of the ordinary, because we already are accustomed and familiar to all the ideas discussed in this book. But what it did at that time was to show some of the very subtle ancient secrets, such as Paramahansa Yogananda was the exponent and sadhak of Kriya Yoga. Yukteswar Giri was his guru, and he belonged to this long line of lineages where a famous Banaras saint and sage Lahari Mahashay was the one who started Yukteswar Giri, and many believe that Lahari Mahashay was Mahadev himself. So Paramahansa Yogananda was definitely, as an individual, was a spiritually enlightened sadhak. Now you must be thinking, if he has written this book, then obviously the book is going to be great, but I am just a normal person writing about the Sanatan secrets. So let's learn some ideas from the book. The first thing is, the book is written very simply. That's the first thing you got to learn about it. So when we read it, you're like, okay, there is nothing spectacular out of the book. That's the beauty of the book. So you're not tackling some rocket science level ideas in your book. A book or a paper or an essay or a communication comes across as simple and clear only if the writer understands the topic thoroughly. So the simplicity and clarity that you find in this book is a testament to the fact that Paramahansa Yogananda knew exactly what he was talking about. So what is the lesson here? Take a topic that you really understand about, that you are very thorough in your research, you spent a lot of time with it. It need not be very complicated idea, something very simple. You want to work on one chapter of Bhagavad Gita, just spend your entire book in that. So simplicity and clarity will come from your wisdom and intelligence about the topic, how much you understand it. Keep it simple and keep it clear. That's the first thing that all great books have. Dusra point. The second point, which is also very interesting, is the title, An Autobiography of a Yogi. That reminds me of a great literary text that James Joyce wrote around the same time as this book came out. James Joyce, the great Irish novelist, one of the greatest novelists of all time. His book was called A Portrait of an Artist as a Young Man. A Portrait of an Artist as a Young Man. This book is titled An Autobiography of a Yogi. So the use of the word autobiography makes it very accessible. You feel and you think that this is a yogi who's going to tell all about his life in a first person, and hopefully we'll get to see behind the doors information about this yogi. Amazing, isn't it? You're just opening the doors. So instead of titling it something really heavy, Secrets of Kriya Yoga, or something like that, a treatise on yoga, he kept it very simple. The title and the entire tone of the book is to make it accessible. Do you understand what I mean? So that is the key. That is very, very important. It is not a treatise. It softly and simply and quietly does inform the reader about the subtle and the secret, ancient, complicated ideas such as Kriya Yoga, such as pranayam, such as different siddhis, such as different lineages that he comes from. So complicated ideas have been quietly pushed to the reader, but the reader is enjoying a story of a person's life. So it's an incredible positioning. Think about that. How do you want to position your book so that it becomes more accessible to the reader? Okay, so some great ideas we've learned from Autobiography of a Yogi. Go read the book if you haven't. That will reinforce what I'm talking about. There are a lot of ideas that you can learn from this Autobiography of a Yogi. There are some mistakes, very obvious mistakes that I see in the books around written on the topics of Sanatan Dharma. One of the primary mistakes is overcomplicating ideas with overcomplicated language. This is not if you're writing in English or if you're writing in Hindi. Keep the use of Sanskrit to the minimum. Use an appendix, footnotes, whatever. But when someone who's reading the book in English, they are not expecting to read more than 1 or 2% of foreign language words. And for a lot of Indians even, Sanskrit is a foreign language. So do not be rushed to showcase your knowledge of Sanskrit. If you have to use Sanskrit shlokas, use transliteration in English. So do not make it overcomplicated. Do not show off your knowledge. Simplify, simplify, simplify. Always connect the spiritual wisdom with your personal experience. This is what Paramahansa Yogananda did in this book. So any idea that you are putting forth, the reference point has to be your personal experience with that idea. This is the biggest mistake I see. People are preaching. People are just sermoning. People are just going on and on and on about ideas that they have read in other books. It has to be experiential, not preachy, not pedantic. That makes it personal. So this is what happened to me. I did Devi Sadhana, and this is my experience of Devi Sadhana. And yes, it will not be the same as I had. You'll have a different experience, definitely. But this is how I learned this topic. That is very powerful. So do not just preach. Do not showcase your knowledge of Sanskrit and other random philosophical ideas. Keep it accessible, connected with your personal experiences. That's the big takeaway from this video. So these are the ideas you have to learn from Autobiography of a Yogi. Simple, clear, authentic personal experiences. If you need any help in figuring your publishing journey, you have any idea or topic that you would like to work upon, I'm offering, I don't know for how long, when you see this video, a 15 minutes blueprint discussion call directly with me. No costs, no charges, no obligation. Apart from that, I'm giving you an author readiness scorecard. That is, the link is in the description. It's a little quiz, and that will tell you how ready you are to publish your book. So you'll get a very clear idea where you are. So both these offerings are offered to all aspiring authors, new authors, wherever you are in the journey. If you're writing anything about Sanatan Dharma's wisdom to propagate the wisdom of rishis, I am your friend, and I hope you're able to write that book faster than you think. Namaskar.